Hello everybody and welcome back to MVP Baseball 2005. We are here in the month of May. I have a surprise actually for you later in this video. You probably see the length of the video. We're going to do 2 months. I forgot to record the May video, the rest of it, before I went through and played all of June and recorded that. So we're going to get 2 months. So heading into this video, we are already mostly through the month of May, heading into this home series with the Atlanta Braves. A big divisional series. We need to obviously play very well within our division to stay within the playoff race. So this is a pretty serious series that we're getting underway towards the back half of the month. As you can see, our records with the Braves are very, very similar. We have a close record with them. We both have 24 wins, just a couple more losses than the Braves do. So this is a big game early on in the season. So we're going to get this gameplay, then we're going to show a game, or I'm going to show a game for the month of June, and then of course will be the rest of the video where we go over stats. You know the deal. So we're going to get started off with Rafael Furcal for the Braves here at the top of the first with 1 away, and he absolutely smokes this ball into the gap out in right center field. He's going to round first, and he's going to get in safely at second, but he wants to go for 3. He's going to threaten 3, and he's going to get 3 as the throw to third base was not on the line. It was a good job of the outfield to get the ball even back in play, but it looks like Jose Vidro might have smoked this one a little bit too much stank on that one off to third base. So to Brendan Harris, who couldn't field it. So Andy Bacco, the first baseman for the Braves here, now with a man on third, and he's going to get a hold of this one. That was going to line out to center field, an easy routine catch, but Furcal is going to tag up and get the first run of the game for the Braves. So an easy sac fly here gives the Braves a nice little push offensively early. So the Braves offense is definitely a scary one, man. It's been hard to pitch against them really in the last year or so. And this is one of the reasons, man. Big Andrew Jones here in the top of the second in a 1-0 count with 1 already away. And he's going to get a hold of this one right back out to that right center field gap. And this one's going to land just a few feet shy and nail off of the wall here. And it's going to be a well-crushed double. Fortunately, don't give up another triple. Casey Fossum already giving up with the triple in the first inning. And Andrew Jones gives everyone in attendance a bit of a scare that we might be watching a second one as Jose Guillen fields it and gets it back in to the infield here before Bacco or Jones can threaten to go to third. So now Joel Dunan, the right fielder for the Braves, it looks like they have a lot of a very young offense here. But with a man on second here with 1 strike already, he's going to line this one through the right infield gap, and Andrew Jones is going to circle around third, and the throw to Schneider is definitely in time, but he couldn't lay the tag down. So misplayed by Schneider, and on the very next pitch here, or a couple pitches later, that one is not fielded cleanly by Schneider. It's a low pitch in the dirt, and Schneider cannot field that one cleanly, and that's going to give up another base to Dunan, who's on first. So 2 back-to-back pretty bad plays from Brian Schneider behind the dish here. Now we have Chipper Jones with 2 aboard and a 2-2 count here in the top of the third, and Chipper Jones is going to line this one over to third base, and that is going to load the bases, but the lead runner is going to threaten to go home, and again the throw is in time to Schneider, but he can't lay the tag down. So I don't know what is going on with Brian Schneider. He's typically been one of the better parts of our team defensively and even offensively. And, I mean, he's gotten 2 pretty good throws here timing-wise and just has not been able to lay the glove down. I mean, that was honestly some pretty bad or, risky base running by the Braves. It wasn't even that good of a slide here. It led with the wrong hand, but still, Brian Schneider could not get the tag down in time. So the Braves are going to add another run to their total now, as the catcher Kevin Zeter is going to be up to bat with runners in the corners, and it's another liner here, bloops down into right field, and that's going to score another run, and there's going to be runners at the corners for the Braves again. So, man, Casey Fossum has himself a nightmare of an inning here early on in this game as the Braves offense has finally really woken up here within these first couple of innings. They're consistently adding runs, and we have not seen much of the Nationals offense at all so far in this game. So got to really step things up here before things get really out of hand. And now Brian Schneider, the man who's committed all the crimes so far in this game, already 0 for 1 here in the bottom of the fourth with 2 men aboard, and he's going to get a hold of this one and turn on it and send it over the right field wall. And so he makes up for most of the mistakes here. For all 3 mistakes that he had in the last inning here, he adds 3 runs for all of them. So Brian Schneider gets the offense going here in D.C. with a humongous home run right over that right field wall and massive moonshot. I mean, to say it was over the wall is an understatement, because that one sailed, into that back wall, the main back wall of the stadium. over 430 feet, so massive hit for Brian Schneider. And now Chipper Jones back up aboard again with a runner at third, and Chipper, we already know, is so effective, and he's going to crush this one out to center field, and that one just barely scrapes over the wall, and Chipper Jones has himself a home run here in RFK. So the Braves answer back to our home run with a home run of their very own, and the lead once again, well, the Braves didn't lose the lead, but now they're going to extend it even further as Casey Fossum's day continues to get pretty rough. And we know the sim doesn't like to change when things are getting rough, so he's going to have to face Joel Noonan here with a runner at second, and it's another nice hit from Noonan, a nice piece of hitting, and the lead runner is going to round third, and the tag this time is on a line, and it is right where it needs to be, and Schneider's able to lay the tag down and get the lead runner out here, prevent the Braves from scoring a 7th run, and just a beautiful throw here from Endy Chavez, absolutely a laser beam right where it needed to be, and I guess Schneider's only going to make that tag if the ball's right exactly where it has to be. So out of 3 relays to home, we got 1 successful. I don't like those odds, but at least we got 1 successful. So with another opportunity here with a runner at second for the Braves, and it's another base hit, and they're going to threaten it again here, rounding third, and the throw to home is on time, but Schneider can't get that one. So 1 for 4 now on relays to home. Brian Schneider's not having a great day. And now Casey Fossum's day is going to end here in the 6th as things have kind of gotten out of hand. And now Chris Ponson, the free agent here, hasn't done so well on all of his appearances, but it's a limited sample size. But now Brian Schneider, again, who has the home run, is back up to bat once again here in the 9th. 7-3 is the score. Things kind of out of hand, but Brian Schneider's going to get things going with a nice hit off of the wall, and he's going to stretch this one into a double. So a nice 3-run home run and a double in this game, trying to make up for all the mistakes that he's made behind the dish. And I don't know if that's really gonna sweeten the deal here with the fans today, but I mean, at least he's doing something, man. At least he wasn't a complete net negative. It's a very confusing ordeal to try and sort through with Brian Schneider's performance today. But we do have a double here in the bottom of the 9th, trying to catch up here. And the Braves are going to hold counsel here at the mound, and they seem to think they've gotten to the pitcher pretty well. So let's see if he locks in here against Matt Holliday, who we haven't heard much from in this game here, with Schneider at second, and Matt Holliday's going to get a piece of this ball here, and that one's going to sail off the wall as well, about the same place where Schneider put his hit, and Holliday's going to get an RBI double himself. So it's back-to-back doubles here in the bottom of the 9th, and now the Braves are looking to their pen again. Maybe it's time to change things up. Right? Actually, I think the Braves might have stuck with their starter all game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the starter for, I think, most of the game here, but they're going to go with one of their closers, one of their higher leverage guys here against J.D. Corey, and they're going to intentionally walk J.D. Corey because you do not want to have to face that bat here with a runner already on. So the Braves still have a pretty nice lead here, a nice padded lead, but still we are threatening. And now Termal Sledge, the left fielder, who I think might have been pinch hitting in this game here with 2 runners aboard, 1 away. Termal Sledge lines this one over to third base, and the bases now are loaded, and everyone's going to be held up at their respective base. I thought perhaps maybe Matt Holliday might try and round third and threaten to score, but that was covered well by the Braves defense, and yeah, you're probably not going to run on that outfield. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You're probably not going to run on that outfield. So everything kind of falls on Brendan Harris's shoulders here. He's 0 for 4 in this game here with bases loaded, 2 aboard, full count, and Brendan Harris draws the walk. And so the Braves, I'm pretty sure the pitcher on the mound has a 0 ERA, and he's just walked in a run. So not a great look. It's a very tight jam for the Braves here. Now Jose Vidro 1 for 4 in this game, and an 0-2 count with 2 aboard. He just needs a nice base hit here, and he gets one through as that one squeezes through, and only 1 run is going to get home, so 7-6 is your score. We're just going to need 1 more base hit, and we can probably tie this ball game. Depending on where that hit lands in the outfield, we might even be able to get the win, and that's all going to rest on Jose Guillen's shoulders. Man, he's 1 for 4 with 3 Ks. Not a great day for him, but we know how effective he is as a hitter, and a 1-2 count, and this one is going to get chopped down the first base line, and the tag is easily made at first. And so Jose Guillen, a player who's done so much for us in terms of clutchness, falls short as he grounds this one to first. Doesn't really give our guys on the base pass a chance here to try and tie this game up here. But we come within one run. The offense just kind of woke up a little bit too late here into this game. So unfortunately, we are going to fall short against the Braves. So moving on ahead now into the month of June, into our second gameplay of the video here. We have, as you can see, in June. We're going to get back to May. Don't worry about it. When we go into the hub, into the second half of the video, you will see the results for May. But I will just say that the Brave series did not go how we needed them to go. And so far, June hasn't really gone how we needed it to go, as we have lost a series to the Reds, and we are now looking at a split here with the Royals unless we can win today here in Game 3. We have a lot of American League games to play. We played 2 series against the Blue Jays. We have a series against, 3/5 of the American League Central. So we play the Twins, Indians, and the Royals, but we do not play the Tigers. Or actually, no, we play the White Sox too. So yeah, 4 or 5? We play damn near the entire Central. And so we're going to try and finish up this series in Kansas City. I thought this one would be fun because we don't typically play in the American League. So Terminal Sledge here is going to get a lot of at-bats here because we have a DH, of course, so there's a spot for him. And with a man on first here in the second, he's going to line this one down the left field line. And that one's going to get all the way out to the wall. It's going to be a nice double here, unless the lead runner wants to threaten to go home. And he does, and the Royals aren't even going to send one to home to try and get him out. So Terminal Sledge gets himself an RBI double. Brian Schneider, who had such a troubling game in the last game here, he's going to line one out to left field, and Terminal Sledge is going to try and make it all the way home. And the Royals, again, not going to even try to threaten at home plate here. I guess they might not have the range, or the arm, rather, in the outfield to even make those kinds of throws. But Brian Schneider gets himself an RBI. So it's back-to-back RBIs for the Nationals offense, and we have struck here early in Kansas City against this American League opponent as we try and win the series. So now we move ahead here to Christian Guzman here in the top of the third in an 0-2 count. There's no one on the base pass, but it doesn't seem to matter as Christian Guzman lines that one over the shortstop's head, and that one rolls all the way out to the wall, and he's going to stretch it to 2, but he's got the wheels. He's going to try and make it to third, and he's going to get to third as the defense in the outfield for the Royals has just been very, very slow, man. They just do not seem to have the speed, truthfully, that they need, man. They really just do not have just the arm, the power, none of that stuff, man. It's just been very slow and very sluggish. So moving on ahead now to Will Cordero, another player who's getting a chance here because we have the DH and there's some open spots in the outfield. And with a Christian Guzman at third, Cordero's going to bloop this one, and what an amazing dive. And so he almost had the catch on Guzman's hit. His glove missed it by maybe an inch, but against Will Cordero, man, he just lays out for that catch. What an amazing defensive play here, and I just wanted to include that one. As Jose Guillen, who's 1 for 1 with a double in this game, steps up to bat in a 1-0 count here, and he's going to get a hold of this one and bloop it up. It's going to be a fly ball, a routine fly ball, but the second baseman can't field it cleanly. And it's a routine fly ball, and that one is dropped in shallow right field, and Christian Guzman is going to be able to score from third base rather easily. As he was watching that one closely, and the second that ball was dropped, he just turned on the jets and made it all the way out to home plate. So we're going to get a nice little run here off of that error from Kansas City as Jose Guillen's fly ball is dropped. So we're going to move ahead down to Donnie Murphy here for the Royals, who's got runners in the corners here in the bottom of the third. CC Sabathia finds himself in a bit of a jam, and that one's going to get lined out to center field to Will Cordero, but the lead runner is going to score. So the Royals will finally answer back here a little earlier in the game, as CC Sabathia tries to work his way out of an early jam. And tell me if you've heard that one before. CC Sabathia trying to work himself out of a jam. It seems to be his bread and butter. That's what he does best. So we move ahead to J.D. Corey, our DH in this game, who's 0 for 2, but he's got bases loaded, and he gets a nice piece of hitting here, lays that one in the gap, and that one's going to score at least one and probably multiple. And the next lead runner is rounding third, and J.D. Corey's going to even get into third, and it's a bases clearing triple. It's just a base short of a grand slam, man. So it didn't really have a chance of being one. It's not like he crushed this one, but I mean, that's the kind of production you expect. That's what the slugging percentage is for, man, Mr. J.D. Corey. And so the Royals are already going to go to their bullpen, as Andres Blanco, with the amazing defensive catch earlier in the game here, is now up to bat with 2 outs on, and he gets a hold of this one, man, and a shortstop flashing some power. Maybe that's where all the power in the Royals lineup is it's in the infield, and it's not in the outfield. As their shortstop takes one a very long ways here, they take CC Sabathia a yard, and they're going to get a little bit of boost on offense here, even though things are kind of getting out of hand for the Royals. They have themselves a bit of a hole to climb out of, as we are pretty much in the driver's seat moving forward now in this ball game. And that was just absolutely hammered, man. I love that outfield. That outfield for Kansas City. I love it. Move ahead now to Christian Guzman, who, of course, had the triple earlier in the game here in an 0-2 count here with one out. And Christian Guzman's going to get a hold of this one and line this one all the way out to right field. And that was going to take a pretty unfortunate bounce for the Royals, as that one goes into the tiny corner of the fence and gets stuck there. And Christian Guzman now with a triple. And so I think I might have been mistaken. I don't know if he had a triple earlier in this game, or I remember he was holed up at third. So I can't remember. Did he have the true triples in this game? I already lost track, man. I know we've had J.D. Corey hit the triple. I remember that much. But we're absolutely nailing the extra base hits here in Kansas City, man. We are unstoppable with the extra base hits. So Will Cordero now with Guzman again at third. Last time he had an amazing defensive grab, and this time he's going to bloop one into center field here. The center fielder kind of playing a little bit back, maybe expected a little bit more powerful of a hit here, cannot make it up to that ball in time. A pretty bad or poorly hit ball here, just kind of blooped up into center field, but finding some grass here, man. That's the BABIP luck that we kind of want here. And even though the game's not really evaluating that kind of thing, that's kind of stuff that helps out. It still happens in the game, man. That's what makes it baseball. So we add another run to our total here. Brendan Harris with a walk in this game, 0 for 2, and a runner on first here in the top of the 8th. And he's going to get a hold of this one, man. Absolutely crushes this one, and it is carrying, and it's going to land down in the warning track between, or in the gap rather, and that's going to score the lead runner. So again, man, the offense shows up to play here in Kansas City. It was kind of a slow rolling at home against the Braves, but now J.D. Corey, once again, who has already had a massive game here with runners in the corners, and he's going to get a hold of this one and lines it out to the left field gap. And that's going to score the lead runner yet again. And J.D. Corey wants to stretch this one into 2, and he does. So it's an RBI double and an RBI triple he had earlier in this game, man. He's just an RBI machine. He's one of my favorite players that we have on this team, man. He is just amazing, and we cannot take him for granted. Whatever money he wants, he needs to get it, because good Lord, we love J.D. Corey here in a Nationals uniform, man. He is one of the best spots of our offense. You got to love it, man. You got to love it. So we'll give another shot here to Kansas City's offense as Donnie Murphy, who made something happen earlier in the game for the Royals. He had the sac fly earlier in the game, and he's going to bloop this one now out to shallow left field, and making the run on the run here. I think it was Turnbull Sledge who made that run. Yeah, it was, man. Amazing defensive grab by Turnbull Sledge, as he covers quite a bit of ground to end this game, and CC Sabathia pitches the entire game. So a complete game for CC Sabathia. You're really not used to seeing that stuff, but yeah, he pulls it off, and now we're finally going to get into the second half here and recap of the last 2 months of the season. Alright, so coming back now, following our double-packed game thing here, we're doing 2 months, because I went ahead and played through June before finishing recording for May. That's why you didn't see the May video go up in the previous week, because I was kind of struggling to get that video done, and I just went through and played through all of June while I was sitting here watching some college football on a Saturday, so kind of date this video a little bit. So, we're just going to throw them both together here, throw both months together, because there's a lot of similar themes between both months. However, our performance in both months is very much different. So, as you saw in May, we did play the Braves, and things were, difficult. It was certainly a bit of a battle there with the Braves, and we ended May losing 5 of 6 to the Braves. So that was really damning for the month of May, finishing 13-14. A lot of that is just really on the backs of losing those 2 series to the Atlanta Braves, which, again, really bad if you want to stay in the divisional race, which is something we really need to focus on, because there aren't a lot of opportunities to make the playoffs in this version of Major League Baseball. We only have the one wild card, and with a 6-team NL Central and a pretty tough, top-heavy NL West, it's going to be quite the fight, man. Our division is no slouch either. We have at least 2 or 3 teams, including ourselves, that could easily make it to the postseason. So we're probably fighting in a race with about 6 teams right now just to try and stay alive. So a 13-14 month, losing 5 of 6 games to the Braves is absolutely not what we can afford to do. And the same thing kind of happened in the month of June here. We have this series at the end of June where we really struggled against the Phillies, man. A lot of the same issues, consistent issues between both months. So we will talk about that as we go through our rosters. I will try to point to both sides of the ball here and try to recall back to some of the bigger issues we have. So this month ends with one final game of that Blue Jays series before we get into the rest of June, and so I just left it alone because it's June. That's typically what we do. If there's a series that bleeds into the next month, I won't finish it, but we already have won that series against Toronto, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But either way, here is a look. I guess we'll look over May first. So in all of May, even though you guys probably saw most of it at the beginning of the Braves section of the video, because we had to get through most of May to even get to that game. So we finished by getting swept, of course, by the Braves, and then we won that series against the Reds, and then lost that last series against the Braves. So in the early parts of May, we did decently well here. We had a couple series against the Brewers that we won. We played pretty well against the Giants as well. We lost a series here as well, and then we also lost a series against the Cardinals. But other than that, it was kind of an up and down month, kind of back and forth. June is a different story. We had a great June, but we did start off losing the series against the Reds. They got their revenge on us in Cincinnati, but we picked up some big wins against some American League opponents. We did beat the Royals in Kauffman, as we saw in the second part of the gameplay. We also beat the Indians in Cleveland. We then picked up a series win against the Twins back home, and then we picked up a sweep against the White Sox. That might be the first sweep of the season, I think we have. Or no, we swept the Mets in 4, so that's not the first sweep. It's the second sweep of the season. We swept the White Sox here in June, I think also at home, and then we lose the series to the Phillies. The Phillies, man, just really giving us everything, man. Just we are really struggling against these divisional opponents. That's the big theme. It's probably what the title of the video is going to be, because that is the humongous theme of the last 2 months, is we have not been able to really hold our own in our division, and that's really going to... Well, I don't want to say hold our own, because I think when we look at the standings, we're going to be pretty high up there because our record is actually pretty decent. But in the series that we've played against our division, it has not gone great. So if we have a month that's loaded with divisional games like September was last season, it's going to be a tough one. I wouldn't envision us going very far in that scenario. But for right now, we're still playing just a lot of random opponents, and this month was very easy, as a lot of these American League teams are not that good, especially the White Sox and the Blue Jays. And we had 2 series against Toronto, which of course we won both of. So that's kind of where we really kind of beefed up our record in the month of June, finishing with a 16-11 month. I think it's tied with our best record in a month since taking over. I don't know if we've won more than 16 games in a month, but yeah, the series against the Phillies, man, that just had me losing my mind for very obvious reasons that we will talk about. So we will get into the team management side of things. I guess we'll try and go into, sorry, I'm hitting the wrong buttons, hitting all the wrong buttons here. So team management. So I guess we will go into the disabled list, because there are some important ones. So Casey Fossum suffered an injury during June, inflamed his elbow. I think that injury originally had him out for like 10 to 15 days, I think. And so he's just about done with that IL stint. But we have lost Casey Fossum, so we've had to kind of patchwork our starting rotation in his absence. And then Turnbull Sledge suffered a pretty serious injury at the beginning of June, and so he's going to be out for at least a couple months. So one of our best pinch hitting options is now gone, and we're going to have to find basically a 4th or 5th outfielder to replace him while he is gone. So nothing massive in the injury department, but those are at least significant in how we like to play our games. So that's something to look at. So all right, now we're going to get into the big thing here, look at everyone's numbers and averages compared. So Christian Guzman has fallen off a cliff tremendously. He's only hitting 265 now with the 9 bombs in the OPS, just somewhere in the 700s. So, I mean, the average was a lot higher, I think, before, and so that's come down a lot here. He's really just kind of come back down to earth. We're not getting a lot of stolen base threats from him or Andy Chavez either. It has not been nearly as successful this year, which is kind of upsetting, but... Will Cordero has come in a little bit here. I guess we're going to use the DH line because we did use it a lot in this month. Will Cordero, I mean, a small sample size, so we won't talk too much about him, but because of injuries, he has played a few more games than he normally would have. Jose Guillen is still having a pretty great month here, providing a lot of power, still hitting over 310 or 310 or better, and the slug is over 500, so nothing too much to worry about with Jose Guillen here. JD Corey has also calmed down a bit. The average under 300 for the first time, it feels like, in his career. We've seen him consistently hit over 300, and now he's calming down a little bit here. He's got some home run capabilities, which have been nice, and the slug is still a little bit high for him, so he's still doing pretty well. I don't want to harp on him too badly, but it's not what we're used to for sure from JD Corey in his early career. Wes King is hitting consistently. I've been playing him a little bit less because he was struggling a bit during the month of May. But he has done well in the month of June. Actually, I think because of injuries and stuff, he ended up being an everyday starter at shortstop, and Christian Guzman was moved to second, and then Jose Vidra was moved to the bench. But Jose Vidra was one of our best hitters, and so I think I just kind of overlooked it for most of the month. But Wes King did a lot with the opportunity, man. He had a pretty great June and just kind of played himself back into a potential everyday role. But I think he's still the third man out in the infield, if we're really getting down to it. Andy Chavez has had a pretty great month himself, man, hitting 322 with a 500 slug. He's got one more stolen base than Christian Guzman does, which is kind of crazy because, honestly, man, I've been struggling to steal with both of those guys. It has not been easy stealing with either of them, so... It's good to see Andy Chavez is still providing a lot of production here. Brian Schneider, again, not expecting too much from him just as a catcher, but he is hitting pretty well. The home runs thing is really where I'm focused. 11 home runs from Brian Schneider through the first 3 months of the season is great, man. I will take that happily. In a 463 slug, I will happily take that. So I'm happy with what Brian Schneider is providing to the team offensively, even if it's not, on par with some of the other players on the team. Matt Holliday is hitting pretty well as well since he's been an everyday first baseman. He's keeping that average above 300. 10 home runs is nice too. A 471 slug. I mean, I like it, man. The OPSs are also. I normally focus on OPS, and I haven't been in this video so far. I've just been kind of looking at the slug because I want to see, how much production we're really getting off the bat of a lot of these guys who have high averages and a lot of home runs, and it's pretty consistent. So the OPS, of course, obviously is high in accordance with that as well. So that's good to see. Brendan Harris, he's done okay. He's done all right. He's played a lot more at third almost every day. The average is getting a little bit higher. 289 is definitely nothing to scoff at. The slug is pretty good, so he's providing a lot of power on his bat, getting a lot of extra bases. So he's not leaving the yard a whole lot compared to some of the other guys who are on our team, but he's providing a lot of production that we'd like to see. So Brendan Harris has been pretty good for us. And now looking at our bench here, Ivan Vukrina hasn't hardly played really at all. I haven't played him much at all since I benched him. He might have went in for one game to help Matt Holliday, but that's about it. He's pretty much been a bench bat this entire season. So Nate Bruce, I played a lot more because of injury, because we lost Terrell Sledge, and he hasn't played a ton. He's only started maybe 3 or 4 games, so his sample size is pretty low, but he hasn't done super well with the opportunity. I'm hoping to play him a little bit more, and he would be a little bit better, but I do think there is a prospect in New Orleans who's hitting pretty well in the outfield. I think we have an outfield prospect that's kind of budding right now, and we might be swapping Nate Bruce for him and just seeing how that works out, but we will look into that probably in the July video because we cover the trade deadline and prospects updates. We'll probably do that. So looking at Brian Boskin, our backup catcher, he's also been pretty good this month. Again, very limited sample size. He's only probably started a handful of games when Brian Schneider's tired. He's done okay with the opportunity. Nothing too crazy. Nothing to really scoff at either. And Jose Vidro still just lighting things up, man. I don't know how he got relegated to this backup spot here, but he is absolutely still lighting things up offensively. So love Jose Vidro, love what he's doing for this team and what he's providing for this team. So we haven't really struggled too much offensively without him. We had a great month, obviously, but it's weird to see that he was put there. So the pitching side of things is not in the same boat. I wish I could be as optimistic about pitching as I am hitting, but unfortunately I cannot. So CC Sabathia has been kind of all over the place. The ERA is firm at 375, which isn't bad at all. He even pitched a complete game in the month of June, so it's kind of been back and forth. He's really kind of stabilized, and maybe he'll go kind of rough in the first 3 or 4 and then settle into like a 3 or 4 run outing and go 6 innings, or he'll just really kind of dominate through 7 or 8 and he'll give up maybe 2 runs. And that's kind of become what I can expect from CC Sabathia, which for an ace, I guess, I mean, that's not ace stuff, but, for a guy who's getting paid like that, it's not the worst. So it could be worse. Chris Ponson has moved in as the spot starter because we have the injury to Casey Fossum, and he's not been great out of the pen or as a starter either. The ERA is now down under 5, which I think was over 5 in May. So having the ERA down below 5 is good for him, but there's still a lot more from Chris Ponson I would like to see as a free agent signing. John Roush is still doing pretty well. He had an ERA under 3 going into this month, and so he's done a little bit worse. The walk numbers are really bad. I don't know why his walk numbers are as bad as they are, but he's been okay. The ERA is among the lowest in our rotation, so you can't be super mad about it. But Tony Armas Jr. is just back to Tony Armas Jr. things, man. Just career, as you can see, man. That's just kind of where he is. He's kind of regressing to his own mean, so nothing too much to be upset about with him. Same with Sungwoo Kim, man. Sungwoo Kim's just kind of regressing to his own mean. Yeah, look at that. Career 447. He's got a 450, so these two guys are just pitching exactly how we expected them to pitch, and just, the rotation needs to get better, and it just hasn't in the years. So Claudio Vargas has pitched a little bit more in relief, because a lot of blown starts and stuff like that, and he's still kind of struggling to really find a good role on this team. Jeff Bennett I used a lot more because he was starting to become the more clutch guy in our pen. You can see his usage is up to almost 70 innings. So I've been using him a lot, and he's kind of been struggling in higher leverage situations. He hasn't really provided that boost for us. All in all, that's a huge problem we've had in general, pitching-wise, is high leverage stuff, man. We don't have a high leverage guy. We really don't, and that's a big thing to say, because if you've been following, you've seen Luis Ayala and you've seen Urgeth Albina really provide a lot of that high leverage stuff for us. And all three of those guys, man, Jeff Bennett included, all three of those guys have really, really struggled to close the door for us, man. It's been really brutal in the last couple months to just get consistent play. I think at least 2 or 3 of the games in the Phillies series, between the 2 Phillies series, were blown by our bullpen entirely. There was a few games I can point you to where we literally were winning by 4 or 5 plus runs, and they all came in the 9th inning and we lost. I'm dead serious. I think I put in Urbina for one game, and he loaded the bases and gave up 2 runs, and then I put in Jeff Bennett to try and close it out, and he gave up the remaining runs to win the game, and I was just like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, it was literally like a 5-0 game, and then I think it was Toronto who scored 6 or 7 runs in the 9th inning to win the game. It was just ridiculous stuff, man. It just has not been good. Seth Griesinger, another figure, kind of on both sides of the ball, man. The ERA, the 278 is so deceiving because I don't think he's been that good in the month of June. I wish I could point to like monthly splits because I swear to God, his ERA's got to be over 4 in the month of June. Like, I promise you, it's got to be, man. It has not been great for these two names in the month of June. Luis Ayala continues to kind of regress as well. The ERA is just ballooning closer and closer to 4. He cannot win a game. His record is 1-9, dude. Yeah, I mean, you already know the story, man. I've been complaining about it this entire video or the last couple of minutes about pitching, and it has not been great, so I wish it was a lot better. Urgeth Albina, again, the ERA is getting closer to 7, like it was like way higher, so I guess like that's good maybe, but the walk numbers are disgusting, and he's walking everything, and just... yeah, it's not good. We just don't have like a great pen, and the rotation already wasn't great. And in April, we were kind of relying on some hot starts from relievers to kind of keep things in order, and now they can't do it. So we've turned into the team that we were basically in year 1. I mean, really year 2, just a team that has a pretty great offense that can score consistently but cannot pitch. So I'm actually like really shocked that we were able to pull off a 16-11 month in June, and a lot of that's just because of the competition, man. The only team I think we play with a winning record in the month of June was the Twins, and I think the Phillies. I think every other team is at least 10 games or more under 500, I swear to God, man. Like, the Reds were, the Royals were, I think the Indians might have been as well, the Sox definitely were, so did the Blue Jays. I mean, it was just, this is an easy month, and we really capitalized on an easy month, which is good, man. There was still a couple more games we probably could have won that we didn't, so that's a thing to point at, but overall, man, I mean, this was a good month for us. We won games that we really needed to win, and even won some tough games that we probably shouldn't have, so I'm not super mad about the end results for the month of June, but just overall, it doesn't bode well moving ahead with some more division games on the horizon if we can't consistently kind of win those games. And we haven't been able to so far. So looking at the standings before we kind of bow out and look at July ahead of us, we are second place in the NL East. Obviously, the Phillies, with their performance against us at the end of the month, is kind of padded a nice like 5-game little thing between us. So they have a commanding lead over the NL East here, and since we're second, unless we close that gap, it doesn't look like really anyone could, even though the Marlins and Braves are kind of right there with us. In the AL West, the Rangers and Angels are kind of fighting amongst themselves. The Rangers are kind of on a skid right now, and the Angels could retake the lead, and the Athletics aren't too far out of it either, but the Mariners are definitely out of it. In the AL Central, the Twins, who we did win a series against, is 50-30, 20 games over 500, and we somehow beat them. And they have a nice 10-game lead just about over the Royals, who are second, who we also beat. And then the Indians and Tigers and White Sox fall behind. In the AL East, the Red Sox are holding on to a nice 3.5-game lead over the Yankees. The Devil Rays are also kind of throwing their hat into the ring here, with the Blue Jays and Orioles continuing to struggle. In the NL West, the Dodgers are currently holding on to a game lead over the Giants. Even though they have one less win, they have 3 fewer losses. So the Giants kind of looking at that first wild card spot now. If we were kind of to end the season today, they'd kind of be firmly right there, perhaps. But the Diamondbacks hot on their tails, and the Padres and Rockies are kind of out of it right now. They're kind of having tough seasons, the both of them. And the NL Central, the loaded NL Central, the Pirates, shockingly, are taking a nice lead here in the first place in their division, with a nice 4-game lead over the Cardinals, the defending World Series champs. And then the Astros are 500, and then outside of that, it kind of starts to fall off here in the caboose of the NL Central. So that's how the division plays out here. We are kind of firmly in a wild card race if there was one. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have to play a whole lot better. So let's look at July really quickly before we bow out of here with this kind of loaded 2-month video here. I know it's kind of a lot here. I wanted to split them, but then I was thinking about, I started to record for May, and I was thinking about looking at the stats, because you're going to get the July or the June stats. And I was like, I'm going to have to put these ones together. So hopefully that's not too jarring for you to watch. I hope not. Maybe a loaded video is what you like. Who knows? But looking forward to July here. We're going to finish this Blue Jays series, and then we're going to get right into the division stuff with the Braves at home. We're probably going to, again, highlight this series. I try and do different ones, but these games are important to us because we can't really win them because we have not shown that we can win them. So we're going to focus on that. And then we have the Pirates at home as well, and then the All-Star break before we take a nice little road trip to Atlanta and then to Pittsburgh, and then we finish off with the Mets. So 2-game sets against the Pirates and Mets. Then we have a 3-game set at home with the Marlins, and then a 4-game set with the Mets, and then a 3-game set in Miami before starting a series with St. Louis heading into August. So this month is going to be very, very difficult, as we have plenty of divisional games here. I think we have at least, 10 to 15 division games here. We have 4, 7, 8, 9, another 4 here, so that's 13, plus another 3 here. That's 16 division games that we have in the month of July. So most of our month is going to be made of division stuff. We've already played well against the Mets here, but the Marlins are going to be tough. The Braves are going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, man. So if we want to continue this pace, we're in a good spot. I like where the record's at, but I really want a repeat of June rather than May if we want to continue our pace on the season. So we're gonna come back in here for the month of July. July is probably not going to be 2 videos. It's not going to be one jam-packed. It's going to be 2 split videos. So I will do July, and then by the end of the month, we will do the deadline, and I will focus on prospects, maybe see if there's some changes that we might be able to make. We need to have an active deadline, because I think this is going to be the first time where I'm going to put a lot of prospects on the line here to try and move some guys to get some better arms in, because we definitely need to get better on the pitching side of things if we want to even do anything. So we're going to have to get through our division if we even make it to the playoffs, and we can't even beat them in the regular season. So that's kind of damning when I think about things. So moving on ahead, that's going to be in the next couple weeks. So you will see the July video where we cover all the games and such like that. So thank you all for watching this jam-packed video. Hopefully it wasn't too all over the place, and I will see you guys in the next one when we cover the month of July.